Jimmy McAllion found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Sheridan.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and it's goal. Still Glenn Wheeler. Hayden Fred works the Is there time for a winner?
Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. This is Extra Time. We're going to be talking about transfers, not transfer rumours, nothing like that, although there is one going out the door, not necessarily coming in. We're going to be talking about Bailey Cadamarteri. He's been linked with Blackburn and those down the road. Oh, I really hope it doesn't go there. That would be an absolute kick in the teeth. Also, as we were recording live, there was news that broke, or well, it was not necessarily news, but just Simon had put out a tweet saying that the EFL meeting that had taken place, that they've blocked outgoings as well as transfers coming in, namely selling players on the cheap and then loading them straight back to us. So that's apparently not happening either. I'm sure we'll go on various other tangents as well, as we always do on Extra Time. But yeah, we'll get straight into it. Matt, first of all, Bailey Cadamarteri, obviously he's got a goal already this season. Transfer window shuts at 7:00 tomorrow. If you listen to this live, Monday 7:00. I mean, not that it matters to us for signings coming in, no. But it's been reported that we've rejected bids of around about £1 million for Bailey Cadamarteri from both Blackburn and Sheffield United. I mean, before we get into all the other stuff, first of all, Matt, on one hand, I don't know whether to be happy that we've not sold him. And I think also there's rumours of Pierce Charles as well. But on the flip side, it's also me thinking, wait a minute, does this mean that Chansiri's actually found some money somewhere and he doesn't need to sell Pierce Charles and Bailey Cadamarteri in this instance? I don't know which side of the fence I need to be on, Matt.
Difficult question, because I think if you're just dealing with Bailey Cadamarteri as a transfer, do I have any problem with Bailey Cadamarteri being sold as a footballer of Sheffield Wednesday? Absolutely not. No, I don't. Do I think that his market and going great and the current situation dictates that we should be never letting that football player leave this football club as long as this ownership remains? Yeah, I do. If I'm looking at it objectively, I have cried and screamed out for this football club to sell, but basically play a trade for years.
Yeah.
Bailey Cadamarteri represents to Sheffield Wednesday pure profit for PSR rules and regulations. He also is of an age profile now where you kind of know what we're going to get from him. It's whether or not he can add the goal scoring back into that hard work rate that he's picked up out on loan at Lincoln last year. If he can add that in, there is a 15 to 20 million pound top end championship striker in there. No ifs or buts about it. And then where that takes you, who knows? His ceiling is probably a Jean-Philippe Mateta at Crystal Palace. He would be the kind of player I'd liken him to. Does that make sense in terms of build, stature, pace, power, raw finishing ability? Selling him at this point would be, again, I don't want to use this term lightly, James, but this would be exactly what it is. This would be suicide. Selling the only bloke up top who can score goals for you is just nonsensical. Then when you look at the fee, £1 million. Now, I know vultures will circle and there's a fire sale going. In this day and age, £1 million for a lad who is in his early 20s, who has scored goals at this level consistently, and you have seen on evidence from the first 4 games he can run a back four on his own, is absolutely shambolic. United, I'd expect nothing less of.
Yeah.
Blackburn, it's fucking disgraceful, because Blackburn are in big a shit show as us. It's the same with the Pierce Charles thing. It's a disgusting bid, and I am quite pleased that no matter what form Sheffield Wednesday have taken, we haven't actually done that to other clubs when they've been in the shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just we were talking, weren't we, on the main show? We've got 12 fit professional footballers at this stage, and we're talking about Bailey Cadamarchi. I know, yeah, he's not got a wealth of experience at this level either. He's he's a young lad. He's still a young lad, but we cannot afford to get rid of anyone. Doris, the tea lady, can't even get rid of her. Like, I mean, most valuable player she would be, but we just can't get rid of absolutely anyone. No matter what the fee is at this moment in time, it comes to that point, it would have to be a ridiculous fee in order for us to go, yeah, we'll let that person go, because at least that might get EFL offers backs and stuff. But obviously we don't want that, because we want Chansiri to go. It's really difficult, isn't it? Because you're torn all the time, because you want the best for the football club, but then you think, oh no, that means that wanker's going to stay for even longer. Do you know what I mean? So you're like, half of me's kind of, in a weird way, wanting it to get worse so that the inevitable happens and he leaves, and then we just start again. The worry is, like, how bad is that? Is that going to be? Are we going to drop into the fourth tier of English football before that even happens? Like, that's the. And can we afford to do that? And if we do go that low, we're going to be like a Bradford City, who are only just starting to get out there, or a Portsmouth who, again, have come back to this level, but not firing on all cylinders. It's a difficult one, isn't it, really?
I think the going rate for Bailey Cadamarchi, well-run club, player trading club, the going rate for Bailey Cadamarchi is 6-7 million quid. That's the going rate for him as a as a forward. He's under a long contract at the football club. He's early 20s. He's scored at this level. He's quick. He's powerful. He can score goals. You can play him as a lone front man. You can play him in as a 2. You can buy him. You can develop him. You can send him out on loan. You can do loads of different things with it. He can go in and start for you tomorrow, or you can send him out on loan. He's a £6-7 million market in today's money. You sell him now, you are waving the white flag. And I think, again, I must say, I've got a lot of time for what we're going to talk about a little bit later in what the EFL have done. But the EFL have backed him into a fucking corner, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. But Pedersen mentioned exactly that. He got asked a question after the game yesterday about players leaving. Rob Staten asked him straight up, and he said it would be like suicidal for us to, making the job. I think he didn't use that word. I think he said it would make the job even harder than we know it already is. Like, it makes zero sense whatsoever. And he also said that he has no say in that either, which proves, well, we already know that anyway, don't we? But he's got no say in whether a player comes or goes. Like, he'll hopefully he's having a little bit of a break as well for the next couple of days, but come back into training and go, oh, fuck, Bailey's gone. Pearson not here either. Oh, dear. He'll be ringing him up. Bailey, you're late. And he's like, no, what are you on about? I'm in Blackburn, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what he has no say in the matter at all. He's just given the tools, and unfortunately, tools ain't good enough. We're putting, we're not quite at the stage of putting square pegs in round holes. But we're going to get to that point sooner rather than later. But we're just making it so hard for ourselves by selling these players. Just want to point out as well, if you're watching this over on Patreon, which I know you all are now Patreon members, but don't comment on. If you want me to read your comments out, do it over on YouTube. Like, you can click on the actual title of the YouTube video, because I know you can play it over on Patreon anyway. Make your comments over there. They'll come up on my screen. I don't have to keep refreshing this other one, and I'll just not get them. I know James, I can see your comments and stuff. Mark, Angie as well. But yeah, comment over on YouTube. I will also not. I'll not read them. Craig's saying you're forgetting about Ugbo, and then
there is. Again, I will argue this until I'm blue in the face. There is a forward in there. We don't supply him. We haven't done for the last 2 years. The time where we did supply him, he scored goals.
But also, you've got to have a squad, haven't you? It's no good just having 11 players and then going, well, it's starting 11's all right. We saw that yesterday. I forgot to make this point earlier on, but we're asking for all the players to put a shift in, like 110% or 100% at least, every game. Now, the best players in the world can't do that. They have some off days. They have games where they're not quite performing. And guess what you do? You take them off and you bring someone else on. You rotate. It's only Barry Bannon that doesn't happen to. But you take them off or you give them a rest or whatever, or you rotate the squad. We have zero rotation. And unfortunately, if you're having a bit of a shit day, tough. You just have to. Hopefully, it's not your worst game of your career, because you just have to play until 90 minutes. So again, going back to kind of selling players and things, you're just making that job so much harder. And do you know what, as well, Matt? It would absolutely kill me if he went to Sheffield United. That would absolutely kill me if that happened. It makes sense for him, though.
It makes. Does it? I don't.
He doesn't have to move, does he?
No,
from that sense.
From a family perspective, I think it does. If I was a young lad, I'm not sure I'd wanting to walk into, not because of the footballing situation. That'll fucking sort itself out, sadly. Like somebody will make a smart decision there and it'll click. I would be looking at it as, what are my playing opportunities? Because here I'm playing all the time and I'm guaranteed to play. If I go to Blackburn,
it's a money situation, though, isn't it? If they see, he'll be on peanuts at Wednesday at the moment, like literally peanuts.
It's an interesting question, James, because he only signed his contract the summer of last year or the
69? Was it summer of 69?
Something like that. Yeah, there we go. I'm convinced it was last summer. I might be wrong on that. It might be slightly earlier than that, the January or February, whenever it was. But he'd scored goals in the Championship at that point, and Danny Röhl thought very highly of him, and he was signed and then knew what his stages of development were. I'd be surprised if his wage wasn't a flat rate to begin with and then incrementally goes up year on year, rather than it being like you hit this milestone, but it goes up year on year. Does that make any sort of sense?
Well, if you want to trust the internet, and we all know that everything on the internet is gospel, obviously.
It's truth. Yeah.
Capology, which again, I know people go, fucking shit. Well, let's just say it's true for this purpose. $5,000 a week, apparently, according to them.
Which, again, given the fact that, according to reports, Jenny Kasama was on 2.5.
Yeah,
it gives the sense of that is a good wage for somebody who is making their way in the game as a Championship player.
And you know what? This makes it mad as well. We're talking. I'm like, $5,000 a week. That's shit. That £780,000 over the course of a year.
Yeah, and this is where you come to. If you go to Sheffield United, what does that go up to? They say, okay, we'll double your wage to £10,000, but then we're going to ferry you out on loan to Bolton.
Yeah,
and you can have another season in League One, and then when you come back, you've got a £20-odd million mistake in Tom Cannon. You've got Tyrese Campbell, who's there. Whoever the fuck they go out and replace Gustavo Harmer with, you're down the pecking order quite a long way, and you've got to do an awful lot just to get back to where you are currently. Yes, it's a shit squad. We know that. It's an absolute shit show. But if he gets 6 or 7 goals for us this year, there will be a queue of people out the door in the summer desperate to take him, because they'll go, scores goals at this level, played 30 games, yep, we'll take him. And the money will be more than the £1 million. The £1 million is just... The reason why I would imagine Dejphon Chansiri was interested in that is because it keeps him in the hot seat for maybe another month, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, could there be an element of, just again, totally hypothetical here, but with Bailey, his brother's gone to Man City for what, £1.5 million. Would there be an element of like, I want to be sold for a figure? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, knocking out round. It don't work at Wednesday, and then you end up being a League Two club or something like that. He wants to also be sold and be like a Fabrizio Romano talking about him rather than his brother. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, here we go. I don't know if he talks like that at all.
There's a belting one down here which goes on around the Black Country, which is "How we go," which is fucking brilliant. It's magic. It's just every post of like who's going in and out of West Brom. So last week when they sold like Tom Fellows and all these players, it's got "How we go" after it. Fucking brilliant, mate.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. Do I think that he probably wants a move if a move came about? Yes, I do. But I also think he's smart enough to recognise he's got time on his side here. Because if he goes down, he scores a lot of goals for us next year in League One. That's assuming he stays. Say somebody comes in, new owner comes in, they're like, promise him, right, we're going to double your wages. You're going to be our starting number 9. You're going to play for us week in, week out. Stay with us. Do what Jay Stansfield did at Birmingham City. Stay with us. Make yourself a bit of a hero. Come back up. You're a better striker for it. If not, guess what? There'll be a line of clubs at the door come 1st of May who go, Bailey, don't worry about it. We've got you. Come here, mate. Come here. And don't stay with that shower of shit. Come here.
Well, according to Chanceronomics, though, if we're thinking about the Michael Smith saga with Wrexham, he scored 1 goal, so he's at least doubled his value by scoring that 1 goal, hasn't he? So yeah. James has left a comment. But is young Brown not a ready-made replacement for Cadz? Obviously, George Brown, who played against Leeds, is who he's referring to. I don't think it's about being a replacement, like a ready-made replacement. It is literally bodies. Like literally, we haven't got anyone. Like I don't want to be selling anyone. You've got to sell one and bring one in. If selling Bailey Cadamarteri and we still can't bring anyone in, what is the literally? What is the point? There is no point, is there? Because we're just making it harder for ourselves. So we're just prolonging the inevitable, like selling players, like the way that we're doing, to then fund the football club. It's what we've all asked for, isn't it? I've been banging that drum so long, but not selling players for $1 million. Your only players, you have to sell. You sell. You should be doing this, but also like should be doing this like last season when you've already got Josh Windass, Michael Smith, and everyone, and everyone else here. That's when you do that thing, and then you bring in 4 players for $250,000 that are 17 or 18 from wherever else. That's what you have to do, not just sell someone just to keep the lights on. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever at all.
No, you don't. Player trading is you don't sell somebody like Bailey Cadamarteri because of the future value. You don't sell him unless the offer's silly. Like you sell your Michael Smith, you sell your Josh Windass, you sell your Bannon, you sell all of those players before you sell that one, unless the offer's stupid. And if the offer's stupid, then you listen, because then that allows you to fund. And again, player trading, the right thing to do. This iteration of it, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Yeah, definitely.
We're all a family, remember? Let's keep us all together.
Do you know what? Just on that article, when I read it, obviously it was Monday night, weren't it? I was obviously still on holiday in Greece. It landed, I think it's 7. It was fairly late time. It's 7 o'clock my time, so it'd been 5 o'clock over here. And I was reading it, and I was like, I mean, it was a long read, by the way, as well. I was like skimming through, and I was like, one thing after another. Uganda, African gold, blockchain investment. Like, what planet is he on? Like, literally, what? I mean, God loves a trier, and he's trying, but he's looking in all the wrong places, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
God loves you, Brian, does he? He's got a funny way of showing it.
It's just, have you ever heard anything like that in the history of football? Like people doing the business in that sort of way. It just shows you as well. He hasn't got a pot to piss in. Where's all his businesses now? Where's his businesses? If he funds the football club by selling unrefined African gold and changing direction of the Don like that, I mean, that it just shows you there that he hasn't. There is. I'd love to see the plan that he gave the EFL, to prove that he's got this money.
It's very different when you come in, because there was a lot of people talking in the chat on the main show about how is he fit and proper. But once you've the current fit and proper owners test is once you're fit and proper, you're fit and proper. Like
no, but he still has to prove funds though. I'm sure he does every year.
He does now, but you can't take it off him currently. You can't do anything other than sanction and give points and give fines, which he don't pay anyway. So what fucking difference does it make? Like, until he does something illegal, which, selling unrefined Ugandan gold is up there with fraudulent behaviour, allegedly. But blockchain as well. What the fuck? Fucking blockchain.
I don't even know what the fuck it is. What
were those pictures that it's the what the fuck are they called? It's the pictures that everybody was buying years ago, like they were like
NFTs.
A blockchain is effectively the technology behind an NFT. So a blockchain is effectively the technology which just
like crypto and all that stuff like that.
It's the technology that works. Ultimately, James, again, tangent here, but that is what extra time is. The minute somebody figures out how to do mortgages and housing payments via a blockchain, somebody's going to make themselves a very wealthy person. Because currently you have to shell out, 10 grand on mortgage advisors and fees and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
if you can sort that process out, that's where a lot of people think blockchain is going. It's going to go into very mundane processes, like day-to-day ordinary life, that make it really secure and streamlined and very fast. So like now, if you want to buy a house, it's like 6 months because this person's got to email this person, this solicitor's got to talk to this person. It just cuts all of that out and it makes it very, very unique to that situation. Anyway, we're getting off tangent here. But
I know I'm going to read it up on after this show's ended. I just found.
Well, there you go. Can you get it done before the independent football regulator comes in?
Yeah, just found a nice one. What is a blockchain? I'll read that later. Anyway, but you don't want your chairman of your football club like trying to get a quick win.
It reminds me very much of Phone Jacker. It's Phone Jacker, isn't it? Like it is. It is. Give me your bank account details. Like it is. It's so Phone Jacker. It's painful.
Basically, do you know that email you get? That email about he got that email and thought, do you know what? I could fucking do this. I'm gonna have a go at this. But if your owner comes in and that's his where he gets all his money from, and he's got a good business in this sort of thing, fair enough. The fact that he's having to try to do this to try and fund the football club is just. Do you know if there were red flags? Christ almighty, there'd be thousands of red. There's so many red flags with Chancery in the real when you look at it. But we just accepted it for so many years. I just know when you go back, I know you can't change the past. No. Just accepted all this bullshit for so many years because we had that first, because we got to Wembley, because we got in the playoffs the season after. So many people were happy just to let him just do all this stuff. There was so many red flags all the way through. I mean, myself included. Even up to a certain point, but. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to what Simon says. That could have been a feature on the pod, that couldn't it? At some point,
it could have. It could have. Possibly should have as well for a while.
Simon says,
or what someone said to Simon.
Well,
that would have been a fucking belt. We'd have been here for years.
Yeah. Anyway, he's not being on about his saleometer, but he has given a bit of an update on the transfers and stuff. I'll not read the whole tweets. You can go over and read that yourself. I'm sure you already have done. Basically saying that both Piers Charles and Bailey Cadamarchi were to be sold on the cheap and then loaned back to us. The EFL wouldn't sanction the loan part of the deal. He also goes on to say, we don't know whether they've blocked the actual sale of the players or whether indeed they can do that at all. And also, they've said, which I'm sure I think someone else has said previously as well, in order for us to make any signings, he has to deposit a full year's worth of or the entire season's running costs. So I'm guessing that's, everything you have to pay out, wages and everything like that, at least, to show EFL proof of that as well. So he's quickly on Photoshop as we speak, trying to Photoshop a spoof bank account statement or something, I'm sure. And obviously, going to say that clearly that's not going to happen before tomorrow. So basically, the squad we've got is what we've got. Obviously, we can sign free transfers outside of the transfer window. Don't forget. So if this ever does get lifted, then obviously we can do that. Obviously we're not under. It's weird because we're not under an embargo because we've paid the players and that we've satisfied all those. And obviously this is nothing to do with the transfer fee ban either, of which we can't pay anything for anyone. This is purely the EFL just kind of outside of all those embargoes and restrictions, just saying because it's not written anywhere, is it, that we can't do this? This is just, I'm guessing, dialogue between the two saying you cannot register any players without speaking to them first, and clearly they've blocked loads. What do you make to all of that? I mean, it is just, it's on one hand it's good because I don't want to see Piers Charles and Cadamarchi leave, as we've been talking about before, but we are in a proper mess. Shock if you didn't think that, Sunday the 31st of August, shock. Mapping says that Wednesday are in a mess.
Sunday 31st of August, 9 hours before the deadline.
Wednesday are in a mess.
Wednesday are in a fucking rate state. The honest answer is, James, is it's something that I think as fans we've known about for a long while, but you get off track quite. I've found myself over the course of this last 120 odd days since all of this shit show's been going, is you know what the truth is. You know what the truth is. You know what all of the legislation says. You know exactly what is going to happen. But then you lose yourself a little bit, don't you? And you go, oh, that might happen. And Man United are apparently really keen to send that Harry Amass on loan to us. Oh, that might happen. Oh, they'll cover his wages as well. Oh, and then actually reality hits and you go, oh, yeah, remember that? And the EFL said that they weren't going to allow us to register any players until we could prove 12 months worth of funding. Do you remember that? Because they did say that. Oh, shit, yeah. They're not signing anyone then, are we? Like,
what do you think he's trying to do at this point, Dave Ponchantier? Because, like, do you think he's trying to call the bluff? Like, they said it, but they're not really going to mean it. But then actually, because, you know, because we've spoken about the competition, you know, coming in disrepute and stuff like that. And there's a distinct possibility that may happen. You know, like we've already seen, well, we've got 1 point from the first 4 games. You know, we had to come from 2 goals down against Wrexham. We've, you know, now lost against Swansea. We got beat against Leicester. We've got beat, fairly convincingly against Stoke as well. It's only, you know, we're not sat on 7 points already after 4 games and going, oh, actually, it's not as bad as what we first thought. It's not as bad as what we first thought because we've actually been competitive. Like, you know, I genuinely thought we were going to be literally the whipping boys of the league. Looks like our neighbours are those now, but like we're still in dire straits. We're still, you know, if players leave again, and then, you know, if we lose Pierce Charles, I know he's not playing at the moment. If we lose Pierce Charles and Bailey Cadamarteri as well tomorrow, like literally, I know it's only 2 players, but where do we go from here? Like we talk about 12 games before a win last season. I dread to think how long it would be before we win another game. So we have injuries on top of that as well. What's the other players going to think? You know, looking around. Yeah. It's like John Travolta meme, isn't it? Walking in training ground.
Just from Pulp Fiction, just staring, looking around.
Where is everyone?
What do I think his game is with all of this? I think this is I think if he'd have shown any level of willingness to deal or negotiate with the EFL, or, you know, at least play the game surrounding, you know, they came out, what was it, 2 months ago and said, we are trying to enter into a dialogue to hope that Dej Ponchantieri diversifies his assets, basically sells the fucking club.
Yeah.
Well, he's not done that. We all know he's not done that. We all know he's been dicking and pissing people about again. We also know that he's dicked and pissed about the EFL for his entire 10 years here. He's tried it multiple times. He's failed multiple times. If you are the EFL now, it's not just like fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. It's not just that. They've given him 7, 8, 9, 10 opportunities to do the right thing. But it comes down to his ego, yet again, like it always does. He can't be seen somebody else win. Because the EFL, in his eyes, will be the villain. The EFL will be the villain. You've not allowed me to sell them, and then they said they were going to loan me back, and then we would have been all right for this season. And then next season, when we'd have stayed up and I'd have got all of that, and I'd have got more finances in, then I could have gone back out. And like, he would have made all these because he's still, reality is staring you smack in the face. He still is unwilling to. Do you know what, James? There is a little part of me that is actually it's quite admirable to be so bloody minded and stubborn to like the point of the entire, like everybody in this business is going, you are doing this wrong. And he's going, no, I'm going to fucking carry on. Like there's a lot to be said for somebody who is that bloody minded and stubborn if they get it right. The problem is we know they're not. And at some point, I don't know when it'll be. I said it for a number of weeks, said it for a couple of months now. It'll be the IFA, it'll be the Independent Football Regulator. Ultimately, will be the test case, and there we go. But I do sit there and just think, right, what is it now? Because yes, he might be able to make this month's payments. Next month, no chance. Absolutely no chance. September, no way. If 19,000 at home, you're not going to do that. Like, you're just not going to make any money.
Well, that's the thing. The EFL know that the reason why he's paid the wages this month is because of the money that they had to give him. Last time they would have known straight away how much had gone to the other clubs that we owed, and then obviously wages got paid. They will have known that actually he's going to be able to satisfy this month's wages fairly easily. But then they know again when the next bit of money is going to be coming in and stuff. I mean, I think again, not really talking about transfers here, but the big test, the really big test, is going to be when season tickets go on sale. That is going to be the big one. I know I put a poll out, and I know that social media isn't the be all and end all. I think it was about 85% of people said that they wouldn't buy a season ticket. I think it was about 2,000 people that voted on that poll. And again, it's very easy to click no, but when it comes to it and you actually think about it, I mean, you won't have long to think about it. You only get 2 weeks going on previous, to make that decision. But it's going to be very interesting whether people do stick to the guns. And do you know what as well? I think had this have been, let's just say 20 years ago, I think it would be a lot more difficult to actually say no, because the only way of getting your football fix was the odd game on Sky that you had to pay extortionate amounts for Sky Football, or you had to be there watching the game in the stadium. Now it's a lot easier to get your football, 3 o'clock kickoffs and things like that. I think it would make that decision a lot easier for most people to go, well, I'll still watch the match. I'll just do it in the comfort of my own home, or in that bar that I built in COVID in back garden, or I'll do you know what I mean? They'll do that instead rather than paying for a season ticket. I do think, though, it'll be, I admire all the people that have done it already. That have not bought a season ticket and they said they're not going to buy one until he goes. I'll admit on here, I don't know what I would do. I honestly don't know. Like, if the season tickets go on sale tomorrow for next season, which they might be doing soon if if it gets that bad, I honestly don't know what I'd do. I really don't know.
So I've just highlighted this comment from John, who was talking around this, who's going to have £7,000 for a season ticket. You're right, James. I can tell you what I'm doing if he is still here now. There will be no early bird purchase from me. Absolutely none. And I'm going to do a classic Deshpan Chansiri and kick the can down the road in the hope that he goes.
Yeah.
And I would imagine if a new owner comes in, it'll just go back to one price, because that's the easiest win on the planet. For season ticket renewals and all the rest of it. But I'm
if you've paid more than this, we'll just give you your money back. And that's what'll happen, won't it? Just hope and pray. I think, but do you know what though? There's gonna be so many people. Like, I'm in a fortunate position where I could get it at a more expensive price. I don't have to get it at the cheap. Obviously you do, because why would you pay more for something when you can get it cheaper? But there's going to be a lot of people out there, a lot of season ticket holders that will be, that might even struggle to get the money together to pay for, this is what annoys me when people whinge about the season tickets coming out and people go, it comes out at that time, every year. Why have you not saved all that money up? It's not as easy as that for everyone. It might be easy for you, but maybe it's not easy for everyone. I do sympathise a lot with people, and also football means so much more to some other people than others. Again, but some people are going to be like, they're going to not want to buy one, but they love football that much, and also they have to buy it at that point because they can't afford it going up however much it's going to go up in the other, up 100 quid, 200 quid, or whatever it's going to be. And if you've got a family as well, if it's your wife or your partner, and then you've got your kids as well, it could be, we could be talking like it's going up 400, 500 quid here, just over the course of just a couple of weeks. So it just backs people into a corner and forces people into doing something that they don't want to do, because they might be thinking, actually, it might be gone next year anyway, and then I've got the cheap seasons. We shouldn't even be in this. You shouldn't be, as a fan, you shouldn't be kind of backed into a corner and forced into doing something, such as just buying a season ticket at Christmas.
No, I agree. I think The early bird will be a genuinely real test for a lot of fans. I've said it here now, and again, I will maintain that all the way through. I'm leaving it as late as possible. The reason why I've gone down that, where people go, it comes out every year. Yeah, I do know that, but Monzo saved me this year. Anybody who has Monzo banking app will have noticed that at the turn of the year, they said do the 1p challenge. For every day, you donate like a penny, then 2p, then 3p, then 4p. Yeah. Until the end of the year, it's £3.65 for your day. And actually, by the end of the year, you have amassed a grand total of just under £700. So guess what? When that rolls round in February, I've got 700 quid sat there, which I just gradually, over the course of time, have just built up. I didn't have to think about it. I literally just clicked, I'll do this challenge because that looks all right. Yeah. That is the only reason why I've been able to save the money this year. It's the only reason. Like, aside from that, there is no way financially it makes sense for me to pay £200 or whatever it is more, because that is a year's worth of football training for my lad. That is 2, 3, 4 sets of school shoes, like, for him. Like, it's
3 of those kits that you're wearing, nearly.
It's three of these bastards. It's it's a number of different things. But I am fortunate in that this year that I have access to that banking app, and that app gets you to save money in creative ways. So it has allowed me to go, would you know what? Even if I leave it until the latest possible day to actually make a decision, because honest answer, James, is I am 50-50. I am on the fence. I've sat here and said, no, I won't renew. There's probably about another 3 more seasons where I've got to go into football with my dad. Like 3 more. And then my dad will get to a point where he just goes, I can't go anymore. Like, I can't be a season ticket holder. That will be a conversation in different versions and different iterations that goes on everywhere around our fan base, of like game time decisions of, why are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? Now, I actually think when push comes to shove, I probably wouldn't renew. I think when push comes to shove, I feel that strongly about this situation that I wouldn't renew. But then what happens when over summer there is a takeover and then everybody wants to buy those season tickets, but you can't buy your seat back and you've got to go and sit somewhere else, and I'm nowhere near him anyway, and it's like, well, but again, I'm at the point now where I wouldn't take the decision lightly, and I wouldn't, I agree with you. I don't think it's as easy as, oh well, I'm not renewing. Like, it's not that.
I'm just being realistic when I talk about it. That's what we try and be. We try, as much as we can be, vociferous and saying like, not a pound in the ground, all this sort of stuff, but you have to be just realistic about this. So then I'm nothing but honest when I come on here, and I think people like to hear that, like, because I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. It's very easy to type a few words on social media or click that no button to say, are you buying a season ticket next season? No, I'm not. When it actually comes down to it, I mean, I do think that the number would be considerably less. It probably would be the biggest drop off of season ticket holders that the club's ever seen for a long time.
Yeah. I think you're talking 10. You're talking 10,000, 9,000, 10,000. You're not talking more than that. There's no way. Because people will also, the other side of this is, James, as Mr. Softy Top in that Peter Kay thing said, where there's tragedy, there's trade. So there will be people who spy an opportunity to get the seat that they've always wanted. I've always wanted that fucking seat. They're not going to be there next year because I follow them on like whatever. I know they're not going. Like, there will be people who use it. Again, I'm not digging anybody out here. People went to the Leeds game. I'm not digging people out. People bought tickets for the Leeds game without any intention going. Why? Because they want the priority points. People did all of that. Like, we know that happened. It is very different. As you say.
I'm boycotting game. I'm not going. But they've just bought a ticket.
But you've bought a ticket and temporary point. And again, it's the same for, say, for argument's sake, if there is a planned protest this season to boycott the game, I will support it. Like, I won't go. It saved me 4 hours round trip. I won't go, but it's not because it's doing anything for money, because I don't spend any fucking money in the ground anyway. Like, it's. Yeah,
it's a very difficult one. Like, again, and the other thing as well is, if we choose not to buy a season ticket, the moment it goes, we'll go back. Again, I spoke about on the main show about these levels of different supporters in where you are. Some bleed blue and white. That's all they think about is Sheffield Wednesday. They buy the shirt, the training kit, the socks, the cap, the mug, everything.
For
Sheffield
9
Wednesday.
months of their life, their life is ruled by the football club where they are on Saturday.
Booking holidays around the fixtures and stuff like that, and everything else. And there's other season ticket holders that, I don't want to say casual season ticket holders, but they'll not go, they'll not get a season ticket next season because of this. And then they might find other things to do or other things to spend that money on. And then it rolls around that they can now go again and think, you know what? I don't miss it. Like they will. Yeah, but there were genuinely people that will be like that. Like I don't miss not going. I'll just watch it on telly instead. I've watched it on telly. Actually, it didn't take all my day up. And again, there will be people like that, and that is the problem with all of this. This is the whole situation that we find ourselves in. You've got all the young people that choose either not to follow Sheffield Wednesday or not follow football or choose to follow another football club instead. I saw a comment on Twitter saying that their lad's going to some Donny Rovers games with his mates, and he actually comes home with a smile on his face. You're giving people opportunities to do other things, and then that's killing the football club, not just today, but tomorrow as well, like later on down the line. You hope that new owners come in and we might see a situation that you have with Birmingham. You mentioned that the people can't even get a season ticket.
Can't get one now. Yeah, you can't get one.
And we hope that might happen. But then again, we might get owners like what they had down the road, and they seem to hate their new owners that they've got. It's not really working out. So, like, it could just kill us for years and years and years to come. What's been happening, and that is when you take a step back, that is the sad thing about all of this for me.
Yeah, I agree with you, James. Personal opinion, I think regardless of when and who this gets sorted out by, who buys it, it doesn't turn around in 12 months. Anybody who's thinking that needs to get that out of their head now. Like if, like people have seen the Birmingham incident and gone, oh, well, they got relegated and then they've bounced straight back up, and look at all of the, you're talking like legitimately like country money that is behind that football club, which is why they're doing as well as they are and why it only took them 12 months to get out of it. With us, I genuinely believe that you're looking at a rebuild similar to Bolton here. You're looking at a rebuild. I think it will happen slightly quicker than Bolton, but I think you're looking at a rebuild the size of Bolton here. I think it will get sorted before we go down into League One. I think we'll be a mid-table side in League One next year because I think there'll be new owners in by this time next year. I think we will be a mid-table side, non-competitive really for the most part. You're in games. We're seeing some of this squad who are here. But I also think we're going to move a lot on because of the scar tissue that's going to be there. That'll be a discussion for the manager as well, I think, because how the fuck do you turn around that? How do you as an individual turn that around? That's a hard job. And then I think the next 2 years, you're going to be building in and around the playoffs, and it's whether you can get out. Bolton failed, and now they're on a rebuild again. I don't think we're going to go as low as Portsmouth. I just don't. I see this has happened too quickly. Portsmouth was a gradual dismantling over a period of years, and it's taken double that time to get there. This has happened. I know systemically it's been happening for the last 6 years, but the speed at which this has fallen apart is about 125 days. If you're looking at that speed at which it's fallen apart, you're also looking at a year, 2 years to rebuild it back up to just where we were when Darren Moore took us up. But you've actually got an off-field structure. You've actually got a different way of doing things. Me personally, I think this time next year, we're talking about new ownership for a League One club who, do you know what, it's just fucking great that they're doing the right things. And that's all. That is, in my opinion, best case scenario, what you can ask for from Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose one thing to finish on, Matt, just talking about, obviously, this is all about the EFL. The EFL are blocking certain things and stopping Chancery from doing things. I didn't realise that was a thing that they could do. I mean, I suppose the question I'm going to ask is, do you think the EFL are doing everything that they can do in their power? But I've just thought about something else just now. Why do you think they're stopping? Chancery sell someone and loan him back. What grounds do you think they're doing that on? Because I'm struggling to understand what they could say why they can't do that. Is that just because are they purely saying you can't loan anyone? So the fact that you've sold him and then loaned him back, he's still a loan, and they're like, you literally cannot sign. You've still signed someone, haven't you? Really? Because you'd have to deregister him and then register him again, like from paperwork perspective. I suppose. Yeah, you've
hit the nail on the head, James.
Just answer me on question there. Fuck it.
Yeah, no, you have, mate. You have, just by thinking aloud, which is great. It's that. That is the sole reason, is because we have said no. And it's also, let's also be honest here. If you're going... Alexa chiming. Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's Dejbon speaking.
That's Dejbon,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
we're having trouble. Please try again in a little while.
I also think, James, it's to do with them doing as much as they possibly can without punishing the football club. Because they are doing what they can without punishing the football club there. On the surface of it, no, I agree. But sell and loan, yeah. You know, it keeps this ship going till the wheels fall off, all of that shit. But no, they're saying to him, go on then, roll the dice, sell them. See how long you last, because we're still coming. We're not going to go away because, you know, in a couple of months you're going to have a tax bill. And what you're going to do, because you're outside of a transfer window and our tendencies are down. Like, they can see again, I understand why people will be annoyed about the EFL stance on this, but again, they're hamstrung by the rules that the owners have made. I personally feel the EFL have played this particular card absolutely spectacularly, because what happens if he sells those two players? Piers Charles in particular. What happens if he sells those two players? There's fucking riots at that stadium. Like, genuine, there will be. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like, if he sold Piers Charles, I know we haven't got on to kind of like protests in the next steps and all the rest of it. People would be on the pitch regardless of whether people ask for it or not. People would be doing everything that people would be in the fucking director's box. People will be going that next stage. Like, if he thinks this is bad publicity, wait and see what happens when we don't let you play a game of football. Because I genuinely feel that would be the level of anger that some people would feel towards him at that point.
Just on that with protest, I feel like, obviously, we've had 2 home games now. Because we've had I don't want to say half decent start. We have it like, it's because it's not been as bad as what most people have thought.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of watered down the appetite for these militant protests. Because people, again, as I think Daz has said, I'll buy it as it's my therapy. A lot of people are in the same boat. Like, the football is their release, and they don't want it to be a horrible experience. You want it to be as good as it possibly can be. Yeah. And if a game gets called off, as you've driven, an hour to get there or whatever, and then 10 minutes in, it's got called off and the game doesn't happen, you're going to be walking off a little bit pissed off. If that's what you're wanting to see. If we get pumped, on the regular, I think people might not even be there, but those that are going to be there are going to want to be doing something. So I feel like we as shit as it has been, like, the games aren't as shit as what everyone thinks they're going to be. Do you know what I mean? And I think, again, being totally realistic, really, we need to do something now. But I think to get the appetite, it has to be really, really bad. Like, 2-3 goals down after 10 minutes. I'm not saying we then do it at that game. I just think having had consecutive games where we're getting slapped all about, then it'll be like, right, we're doing something the next one. Like, it'll be the next home game, and everyone will like, because it's shit anyway. We're going to get slapped. Let's just do something now. And that's what I think. Like, that's what everyone's kind of waiting for, because they were, up until 50 minutes, we were a level playing field yesterday. Like, we're 0-0 until that point. We could have won the game. Obviously, so I think that's where we're at. Right, let's wrap things up, Matt. Massive thanks everyone for listening. Obviously, I know I did put this out as a one for the free members, so massive thanks everyone that did join. Hopefully, you enjoyed listening to this and you decide to sign up. Obviously, you get the access to Discord as well. You get the debate show midweek. If you can't listen to that live, you get to listen to that one back as well. As well as all the other things that you get too. So do have a think about joining up. You get the preview show as well, which obviously won't be on this week because I'm not speaking to an Andorran fan. It'd be hard pressed trying to find one, let alone getting someone on here. And of course, we don't talk about England anyway. Utter bollocks. But no, join up if you want to. Do really appreciate all the support and everything. And we'll see you all on Wednesday. Cheers, guys.